write the topic land reforms in India, because this topic I will discuss in summary form, because this is moreover the topic of history in UPSC, but because we are studying agriculture, so the problems with agriculture is also a very important topic. So UPSC में जो सवाल बनते हैं GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 में, these are consigned topics, means one is interrelated definitely to the other subject domain, है ना? So land reforms in India is typically history का topic, but in geography also you need to see this. Land reforms. Okay, so there are many land reforms which are being taken care, but not on the practical ground of India's land. So first was the abolition of intermediates. The first and foremost was abolition of intermediates. ठीक है. So what are these intermediates? So before independence, write down, before independence, Britishers has introduced the intermediate concept of land tenure system. The intermediate concept of land tenure system. The first was zamindari system in Bengal province. Zamindari system. The second was Raiyatwari system. The third was Mahalvari system. So, the first, write down, zamindari or permanent system. Zamindari or permanent system has records of existence, in times of Mughal Empire. In times of Mughal Empire, when the big zamindars were allotted, to create the revenue or to take the revenue from the farmers. On behalf of Mughal emperor, the Diwan or Zamindar will, on behalf of Mughal emperor, the Diwan or Zamindar will make sure of rightful collection, collection of revenue. The system of zamindari passes in the time of British India. The system of zamindari passes in the time of British India during the defeat of Battle of Plassey. So in 1973, Lord Cornwallis introduced the zamindari system. In more expanded manner, expanded manner and called it a permanent settlements and called it a permanent settlement to which feudal lords means feudal means जिनका खेत उन्हीं को समर्पित है, feudal lords which are called as zamindars or jagirdars feudal lords called as zamindars or jagirdars were declared as the property owners of these lands. Were declared as the property owners of these lands. The Britishers gave the argument. The Britishers gave the argument of this system that zamindars represent the higher strata of rural society. मतलब वो ऊपर हैं. Zamindars represent the higher strata of rural society. Their official designation will imply on decentralized concept of governance and proper collection of revenue from the village areas. मतलब कि इनको अगर असाइन कर देंगे ऑफिशियल टेन्योर तो डिस्प्यूट्स नहीं रहेंगे, इनके ही लोग जमींदार बने इंडिया के, एंड देन देयर विल बी लेस ऑफ दीज डिस्प्यूट्स, मोर ऑफ गवर्नेंस, एंड जो प्रैक्टिस चल रही है वो ऐसे ही चलेगी. आवर ओनली कंसर्न इज द रेवेन्यू ऑन द टाइम, राइट. अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग इट. ये लिखना नहीं था नकुल, जो लिखना था वो मैंने बता दिया है. द ब्रिटिश रूलर्स आर्ग्यूड दैट द जमींदार्स रिप्रेजेंट हायर स्ट्राटा ऑफ रूरल सोसाइटी एंड असाइनिंग द जॉब इन ऑफिशियल मैनर will lead to the good governance in decentralized level, and time to time revenue collection from the villages. Because of this pattern, the zamindars were not attached and emotional with the land. क्या हुआ? साल में एक बार सिर्फ पैसे लेने जा रहे हैं किसानों से. If you are not putting your blood and sweat to any work, you are not emotionally attached to the work. So these zamindars are called as absentee landlords. मतलब कभी थे ही नहीं उपस्थित. कब थे? They were available at the time of collection of revenue. So what happened? They were not emotionally attached to the requirement of land. This zamindari system introduced way back in the time of Mughal or in Britishers India in the revised form was the major reason for the decline and degradation of the land in India. All right, because these people were not emotionally attached, so they were not seeing the requirement of the land, they were only in the concept of production. So this more production lead to the infertility of many land in India. So write down, the zamindari system with the absentee representatives targeted Indian agricultural lands Indian agricultural lands more into degraded and subsistence farming with low productivity. More into degraded and subsistence farming of low productivity. Okay. This system prevailed over major parts of North India, including Uttar Pradesh, except Awadh and Agra, Bihar, West Bengal, and most of Odisha and Rajasthan. Okay, next, land degradation system. I don't call it reform, may abolition of intermediates. These were the system which changed to the land degradation and retardation of land system of India. So, Raiyatwari system. Raiyatwari land settlement was introduced in Madras. Raiyatwari land system was introduced in Madras in 1972 by Captain Munro. And in Bombay province, पहले महाराष्ट्र नहीं था, वो पूरा province था, that was Bombay under British India, and in Bombay in 1817 and 18. In Bombay in 1817 and 18, the individual cultivators, जो वहाँ के खेतीहर थे, the individual cultivators called Raiyats, were the sole property owners of their land. Were the sole property owner of the land is directly liable, मतलब वो किसको liable है? British India को, is directly liable to the state for payment of land revenue. For the payment of land revenue. This system was reflecting the kind of zamindari in concept of Raiyat and called as pockets of zamindari system. Still exist in small and local administered rajas and nawabs. Okay. The major kings of that time, अब उनको लालच आ गया कि अरे ब्रिटिश इंडिया कह रहा है कि वो उसके सोल ओनर हैं, लेकिन सोल ओनर इज कंपेल्ड टू गिव द रेवेन्यू टू ब्रिटिश इंडिया. मतलब वहां पे झंझट अंग्रेजों ने पाला ही नहीं, इनको इन्हीं के जाल में घुमाते रहे एंड देन they were taking the benefit out of it, right? So the Raiyatwari system was accounted for 38% of total land area of India. Accounted of 38% of total land area of India, majorly to the princely states of India. Majorly to the princely states of India. Okay, third is Mahalvari. Write down Mahalvari system. Mahalvari was the third land settlement in between the village communities. Mahalvari land settlement was the third land settlement in between the community of villages, where the members are jointly cultivating the land in form of महल्स. जमीन के टुकड़े को महल का फॉर्म दिया गया, like this, right? So all the village people will cultivate the land combinedly. Members were jointly responsible for the cultivation and payment of land revenue to the British India. मतलब जमीन पे खेती कर रहे हैं, उसका रेवेन्यू ब्रिटिश इंडिया को जाएगा. Okay. The initial revenue gross was 83% of total production. 83% of total production. See how they made India poor and the land productivity as well poor. मतलब जितना अनाज है उसका 83% to British India. 83% to British India. Later, after disputes and some fights between the Mahalvari representatives and Britishers, reduced to 66%. Reduced to 66%. It was introduced in 1820s. It was introduced in 1820s in Punjab, including Pakistan and India, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. All these land mediating system was abolished by government for the better administration into the land cultivation mechanism. However, the zamindari abolition was created as disguise. मतलब इसमें जो abolition था वो हो नहीं पाया. जमींदारी system was created as disguise. लोगों ने जमीनों को आपस में ही रिश्तेदारों में बांटकर अपने पास रख लिया. Okay. So here the policies were made up by government to dismantle these intermediate concept of land cultivation and revenue generation concepts. All right. Next is your tenancy form. Tenancy reforms. The next land reform was tenancy reforms. I will discuss this after 5 to 10 minutes of break and then we'll discuss this tenancy reforms. यहाँ तक किसी का छूटा है? Okay, so we were discussing on tenancy reforms. Let's start discussing back on this. So tenancy reforms in India was introduced during Government of India time. So write it down here. Britishers has introduced tenancy cultivation in large part of the country, including all these land management system. including zamindari, rayatwari and mahalvari land management system. They introduced land tenancy cultivation also. What is this land tenancy cultivation? The condition of temporary farmers, laborers, landless farmers, the condition of temporary farmers, laborers, landless farmers, where under the Signatory Tenant Act, where under the Signatory Tenant Act, to cultivate the land on lease basis. Cultivate the land on lease basis. This lease terms and conditions, this lease terms and conditions lead to some systems, occupancy of land is not on the hand of tenants. Occupancy of land is not on the hand of tenants. Tenants are temporary farmers. Tenants are temporary farmers. Tenants are temporary farmers. The ownership maintains the regulation of rent, under very exploitative situation. Under very exploitative situation means the production, the costing, the labor, everything is on the tenant. 80% will be taken by the permanent settlers. So they had not left with any choice. जिनके पास ज़मीन नहीं है उनके पास काम करने के लिए सिर्फ एक यही रास्ता था, जहाँ पर बहुत एक्सप्लॉइटेटिव सिचुएशन, एक्सट्रीम गरीबी के साथ जो था वो इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया टेनेंसी एक्ट. सो व्हाट हैपेंड? The tenancy reforms were taken care by government of India. So, in spite of giving full ownership, the state has achieved few provisions. The state has achieved few provisions that all tenants have been given full security of tenure. All tenants have been given full security of tenure without giving the owners the right of personal cultivation. The right of personal cultivation. Owners have been given the right. Owners have been given the right to resume a limited area. एक limited area में cultivation कर सकते हैं. Not more than the family holdings of the estimated land. Not more than the family holdings of estimated land. Next, regulation of rents. Regulation of rents. The regulation of tenant rents on agricultural lands is taken care by regulatory body of government. Is taken care by regulatory body of government. In major states of Gujarat, Maharashtra and Rajasthan, in major states of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, the tenancy rent paid to the owner, the tenancy rent paid to the owner is 1/4 of total production. Is 1/4 of total production. In Assam, Kerala, Karnataka and other union territories, in Assam, Kerala, Karnataka and other union territories, the normal level of rent is 1/4 of the production. 1/4 of the production. So these are the tenancy reforms done for making the condition and situation of tenants more viable and livable. ठीक है, इसी में सिक्योरिटी ऑफ टेन्योर एक कॉन्सेप्ट आया, सिक्योरिटी ऑफ टेन्योर. सो राइट इट डाउन. More than 20 million आदिवासीज ऑफ इंडिया लिविंग इन फॉरेस्ट. अब उनके लिए भी जमीन सिक्योर्ड करना था खेती बाड़ी के लिए, है ना, जो आदिवासी जंगल में रह रहे हैं, उसके आसपास रह रहे हैं. सो मोर देन 20 million आदिवासीज लिविंग इन फॉरेस्ट हैव बीन claiming for rights over forest land and forest products. Of claiming of land of forest and forest products. इस पे भी संशोधन हुआ. क्या हुआ? The scheduled tribes and other forest dwellers. The scheduled tribe and other forest dwellers bracket Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006. Recognition of Forest Rights Act 2006, which granted 2.5 hectare of land area, which granted 2.5 hectare of land area to tribal communities per family. To tribal communities per family. Next, sealing on land holdings. Sealing मतलब रोक दिया गया. A person has some estimation over land holdings. Sealing on land holdings. Write down. Imposition of sealing on land holdings. These are the reforms we are discussing. Reforms on India's agricultural land. Imposition of sealing on land holdings and distribution of surplus land among landless. मतलब just like Robin Hood taking money and wealth from the rich and distributing to the poor. So maintaining and balancing the land sharing among the people. So imposition of sealing on land holdings and distribution of surplus land among landless laborers was the most important objective of sealing of land holdings. Was the most important objective of sealing land holding. The idea of land redistribution, the idea of land redistribution through fixation of land sealing has gained wide acceptance in India. इंडिया में इस चीज का बहुत acceptance हुआ. The strategy of rationing the land to the landless, मतलब जिस तरीके से अनाज राशन में देते हैं, rationing the land to the landless in such a way that poor families are not deprived of the basic asset called land. Okay, so these were some land reforms. Details में हम लोग उतना जा नहीं रहे हैं because these are not required in UPSC's GS paper 1. ठीक है, तो कुछ कुछ थे जिसको आपको informative knowledge होना is very important. Rest we are not requiring much. Okay, so after this, write down the topic. No, the schemes one, the scheme of farmers, this is a very contemporary topic. I am going to discuss this tomorrow after Industrial Revolution, phase 1, phase 2. These are contemporary topics. Yes, the factors required for production of agriculture. What are the factors? So this is in your economic geography as well. Determinants of agriculture. Next topic, write it down. It's a broad topic. जितने भी schemes or programs related to government, the government of state and central government for agriculture, farmers, we will discuss one by one. जो contemporary topics में आएगा, जो हम लोग industrial revolution phase 1, phase 2 discuss कर रहे होंगे. Next topic, determinants of agriculture.